What's up, Wellies? I'm Dave Householder, and as always, I am blessed to be your Bible teacher and really excited about getting into some in-depth stuff here, some connecting of dots, which normally don't get connected, and they should be, because the Gospel of Matthew connects these dots, and a lot of people don't notice. We are looking at Hosea chapter 11 right now, and Hosea is prophesying to the northern kingdom, which is disintegrating. It's disintegrating from the inside, and it's happening because people are losing sight of that which holds their culture together, which is the covenant with the Lord, which was made on Mount Sinai. And that covenant is the superordinate principle that really makes things go for the nation of Israel, especially for the northern kingdom that Hosea is prophesying to. And he's trying to wake them up before it's too late, but very, very soon it will be too late. And the northern kingdom falls. And you've heard of the 10 lost tribes of Israel. Well, that's the last we hear of them at around 722 BC. So let's look at Hosea chapter 11. And it starts with something which has to do with Jesus, 720 some years later. When Israel was a child, verse 1, I loved him, and out of Egypt I called my son. Now, Hosea isn't specifically talking about Jesus. Hosea is talking about Israel and how God loved Israel and brought them out of Egypt to remind them of the mighty acts of God that brought them through the Red Sea and all the miracles that happened, and how he had fed them in the wilderness with manna and water from the rock and all that stuff. And he's trying to bring them back to their first love, to their principle, which holds people together. Every society needs a higher power. You need something that brings you together, a higher principle, a higher power, something. 12-step groups need a higher power. They just don't work. It's the same with countries. And the Northern Kingdom was disintegrating because it was losing touch with that. And what's interesting is Matthew, when he writes his gospel, remembers that Jesus spent some time as a child in Egypt because Mary and Joseph were avoiding the slaughter that was happening because Herod had heard that this king of the Jews had been born in Bethlehem and started killing all of the boys 2 years old and younger in that area, which is horrible. And you might think, well, that's exaggeration. No, it's not. Herod actually killed family members so that he could stay in power and was rather ruthless about doing so. Was not exactly a principled guy. And so we've got a wicked king here killing babies everywhere. And we call this the flight to Egypt, where Mary and Joseph and Jesus spend some time in Egypt just to get away from what is going on. And when things cool down, then they come back and end up in Nazareth. And that's the rest of the story. But Matthew says, hey, I remember this passage. Out of Egypt I have called my son. And he sees in this a forefiguring of Jesus. He sees this as an illustration of Jesus being called out of Egypt to come and live in the promised land, and then eventually to begin his teaching around Galilee and get things started. So God's only son, Jesus, and God's son as a nation, Israel, were both called out of Egypt. And this is so important. Jordan Peterson talks about this a lot. And what he says is the whole Bible relates to the whole Bible because everyone writing the Bible was conscious of the rest of the Bible when they were writing their part of the Bible. So Matthew was thinking about the whole story of the Bible that was available to him at the time as he was putting together his part of the story. And so he connects with different parts of the Old Testament and brings the whole story together. This is why it's the most beautiful book in the world. It's like this beautiful jewel with all these facets where every facet connects to every facet. People say, well, how much of the Old Testament is connected to the New Testament? All of it. And all of the New Testament is connected to the Old Testament. It self-consciously, the book refers to itself. And as Martin Luther says, the Bible is a living book, Hebrews 4:12, living and active. And it comes after us. It speaks to us. And we've got this fantastic, fantastic book. And I would just invite you every single day to read the Bible with me. We do this every day. I love teaching Bible, and I just love being a tour guide. And this is the most fabulous land we could ever take a tour through, the Bible. Have a wonderful day. That's the good news for today, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow.